This is the Royals POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Kansas City Royals. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Royals POSTCAST here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chance Liebau, and I'm here to bring you reaction to every single Royals game the rest of the way. Follow me on Twitter at Chance Liebau. That's at ChanceLiebau. Do not worry if you cannot make a show live. These episodes will always be uploaded for you to listen to on demand wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for making the Locked On Royals podcast or the Royals POSTCAST your first listen of the day. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel and turn on our notifications so that you get an alert whenever we go live. Thanks for joining the show, and feel free to join the live chat. Let me know your thoughts on the game. Obviously, we're going to have a lot of negative comments, and as we should. That was the most embarrassing loss of the season for the Royals. Top to bottom, that was one of the worst baseball games I've ever watched. You can make the excuse that Bobby Witt Jr. wasn't in the lineup tonight. Bobby Witt Jr. is one of 9 at the end of the day. As much as we want to rely on Bobby and Vinny and Salvi and Michael to carry this team, at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to do that for 162 games. They have to have better contributors all around. And today was an absolute abomination of a performance from every level of this Royals team. Ryan Bergert pitched his absolute tail off today. Tip your cap to him. Back-to-back fantastic starts with 0 run support whatsoever, and they just fail to get it done. A losing road trip is how it's going to be remembered. And for this team, for a lot of people, and I don't know if I can say the same for everyone in this chat, certainly not for me, that ended the season. The Royals fan base just quit out on the season after today. They were on the road for 9 straight games with an entirely new squad after the All-Star break. There was some positive momentum heading into this stretch of games where you make some moves, some positive moves, but unfortunately, they just didn't do enough. And they returned to home 11 days into the month, and the season feels like it's over for a lot of the fan base. The attendance in this next couple of series, they get the White Sox coming up on, the Nationals. The Nationals coming into town on Monday. Nobody's going to be it is going to be one of the worst attended August games of a competitive Royals teams in a long time. And that was one of the most embarrassing and, I don't want to say even heartbreaking, but just the amount of frustration I have right now cannot be expressed in a single podcast, especially since I cannot use curse words. That was one of the most dreadful performances from a competitive Royals team in a long time. And let's just get into it. We'll talk about the final 3 innings, the final 4 innings.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Sorry, I clicked the wrong button there, or clicked the button a little bit too early. Somebody said in the chat, sure, John Rave is a nice guy. He sucks. Needs to be off the team. I was actually at a point that I would have rather seen John Rave on the roster than Tyler Tolbert. Faster than him, better base runner, better fielder coming into today's game. And when Jack Caglione eventually returns with his $140 batting average, I was leaning to keep John Rave on the roster because he had been hitting much better recently. He's a much better base runner. Today was one of the worst John Rave performances we've seen all season. I think John Rave cost him the game. He has to understand, you're not Alex Gordon. You are not Alex Gordon. That was one of the worst and stupidest diving attempts I have ever seen on a ball when he dives for it in the 8th inning. Just absolutely asinine trying to make that play. The ball is 5 feet in front of you. Your job as an outfielder in a 1-run game, it's not to be the hero and be the guy that makes the Sports Center top 10. Your job in that situation, they're playing no doubles on the infield because you want to keep a runner at a scoring position with a 1-run lead. Your job as an outfielder is to keep the ball in front of you. And he does the exact opposite. He dives for it, and it's a pathetic dive where his hand's all the way out here. It's all the way out here, so the ball gets past him. It doesn't even chest him up when he dives for it. It bounces past him. Martin makes his way all the way to third. And say what you want about Lucas Erceg. Lucas Erceg's been rough recently. I'll own that. He hasn't been great. But to do that, to make that kind of stupid play with the game on the line, if he just keeps the ball in front of him, the Royals are heading home with a winning road trip. But instead, here we are. And that, unfortunately, was not even the most embarrassing part of the later innings, because then you get to the ninth inning. Isbell and Yaz go down looking. Just bad ABs from both of them. Then Michael Garcia doubles. Vinny gets intentionally walked. Salvi gets hit by a pitch. And at this point, I'm kind of believing that Bobby Witt Jr. might be getting an AB here in the ninth inning to at least give them an opportunity. I think that shows you how bad his back stiffness or back tightness it really is. It was a literal injury day off. It wasn't just a rest day, or else he probably would have hit in that spot. And maybe you can argue whether it was the right decision to leave Adam Frazier in. He's 4 for 4 on the day. If Bobby Witt Jr. is not available, I'm fine with you leaving him in. But he at least puts a little bit of a jolt into a ball, but not enough. And despite going 4 for 5, I mean, we're thinking about him leaving the bases loaded in the ninth inning. And then a 1-2-3 ninth inning from John Schreiber. Good for John Schreiber. Has been rough recently. But then you get to the 10th inning. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I just wrote down you couldn't even move the ghost runner on the 10th. I'm trying to remember who hit in the 10th inning for the Royals in the 10th, because I believe it was the bottom of the lineup. And if that's the bottom of the lineup, you at least have to try and move a runner. So you get Jonathan India, a pathetic, absolutely pathetic ground out to the shortstop. First pitch, you don't even try and lay a bunt down. I have been a Jonathan India defender this entire season. I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired of it. I cannot defend him any longer. He has been a net negative for the Royals basically the entire season. And in this entire road trip, Jonathan India, outside of the homer in Boston, has stunk. And I don't even think you can warrant playing him now every day. I think that maybe against lefties you can hit him. But he first pitch swinging hits a ground ball. Jonathan India, you are not hitting leadoff anymore where you get the green light with a runner on second, ghost runner in a 10th inning. Listen, man, you're batting 7th. Get a bleeping bunt down. Move the runner over. Be unselfish. Doesn't even try. Grounds out to short, doesn't move the runner over. So then, heading up next, John Rave. One of the most pathetic and uncompetitive at-bats I've seen in a long time. I mean, just flailing at a slider far and away. I mean, just a pathetic appearance at the plate for John Rave. Just a stupid AB to have him up there. Honestly, I would have rather had Randall Grichuk hit in that spot. I get it, righty-lefty, but whatever. I don't care at that point. John Rave is a net negative at the plate right now. He's horrible, but a pathetic appearance at the plate. I mean, uncompetitive. I'm going to look at the actual swings here because not even close. Called strike, swinging strike, was able to foul one off inside, and then swinging at a slider or a fastball there at the end. That was never going to be a strike for John Rave. And then that brings up Nick Lofton comes in to pinch hit for Luke Maile, which I don't love. And then Kyle Isbell, who has been great for the longest time since the All-Star break, pops up. So you're not even able to move a ghost runner over. And from that point on, if I didn't have to do this show, I would have turned the TV off. I didn't care from that point on because the Royals deserved to lose that game, and they did. But give credit to Taylor Clark, pitching out of a jam. Twins were unable to move the ghost runner. And then the top of the lineup comes up, and you get another inexcusable effort. Mike Yastrzemski puts a ball into left field, and it barely gets out to left field for Mike Yastrzemski. I mean, another just terrible, terrible AB. Put a ball in the bleeping air, put a ball down for a bunt. Garcia able to walk. Vinny, man, if Vinny doesn't hit that 2-run go-ahead home run, we're going to have an uncomfortable conversation about his performance since the All-Star break, because he's been terrible. I mean, just atrocious since the All-Star break. And maybe he needs a day off. I wouldn't hate a day off for Vinny Pasquantino. He pops out, and then Salvi strikes out. And then in the 11th, who gives a rat's behind about what happens in the 11th? You get a fly out to center field, and Austin Martin is a toot blonde on the bases, thrown out on the bases, looking like a nincompoop. And then Carlos Estevez, say what you want. Karma will come back and bite you in the rear end. Did Carlos Estevez deserve to get blown up in the 10th inning, deserve 2 runs on his docket? Probably not. He shouldn't have even been pitching in the 11th inning. And if he was, it should have been with the lead. But instead, the Royals are unable to even get a lead for him to pitch in, and he gives up a walk-off home run to Luke Keyshaw, who I've talked to Luke Keyshaw. He's a great guy. Was here in Wichita. I think he's a really good baseball player. But, man, that was the most uninspiring effort of baseball I've ever seen from a opposing as competitive Royals team in a long time. And I have way overshot my break. We are at 10 and a half minutes here through the first segment. And honestly, I just don't even know what it is right now to even say anymore, because that was just an embarrassing series against a Twins team that is totally depleted. Yes, they still have 6 guys that are going to start on every major league team. I would love to have Royce Lewis and Ryan Jeffers and Joe Ryan and some of those guys. I'd love to have them on my roster. Brooks Lee on most days. Luke Keyshaw, would absolutely love him to be on my team. But very much similar to the Royals this season, once you get past those top 6 guys on the roster, they stink. They're not good. And that was just a front-to-back embarrassing performance for this Royals team. And I'm stunned. I am absolutely stunned that I let this team make me believe that they can be anything competitive in this second half. But very, very frustrating from front to back. This Royals team sucked. The bottom of the lineup today, looking at the box score, I didn't write this down, so I'm sorry. But bottom of the lineup, India 0 for 5, Rave 1 for 4 with a bunt single, Luke Maile 0 for, Lofton pinch hit walk, Isbell 0 for, Yaz 0 for, Perez 0 for. Just unacceptable. I mean, I get it. Luke Maile is probably a guy that isn't going to get good AB. He's a guy that I will excuse him not having the greatest day today. But Jonathan India is now down to hitting 236, OPS at 660. Good for John Rave getting his average over 200. Hey, man, the next time you step into the box, you'll have a batting average over 290 because it'll be in Omaha, because he's not a good player. He is not a good hitter. I'm done watching him at the plate. And maybe I should have tweeted it, because then he'll actually do something. But I'm tired of watching John Rave at bats. It's uncompetitive slop that should not be excused for Major League hitting. But that pretty much just sums up my thoughts on the game. When we come back from the break, we'll talk about the road trip as a whole, my thoughts on the team going into their homestand, and what they need to do to at least get me to buy back into this team heading into the final stretch of games in August. That's all coming up next on the Royals Postcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Gameday Hue. For Royals fans like me, these hats hit the mark. Gameday Hue makes clean, no-logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. It's all about letting your color speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. The hat pairs perfectly with my usual gear. It doesn't replace my team's logo stuff. It just adds to the lineup. It's the kind of hat that reps your team without screaming it. Subtle, but still says everything. And it's not just hats. Check out their split shade gloves made for the golf course, or the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. Right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GamedayHue.com. That's GamedayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals. So now is the time to load up. Let your colors talk, because colors speak louder than words. That's GamedayHue.com, code MLB15. The episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. August 26th is officially FanDuel Futures Day, a brand new holiday for football fans who live for bold predictions and preseason hunches. For just 24 hours, FanDuel is giving you deals on NFL season predictions. So whether you're calling your MVP, eyeing a long shot division winner, or ready to crown your Super Bowl champ before week 1 even kicks off, this is your moment. So take a flyer on the MVP race, like I will be with Patrick Mahomes. Crown your champion in August, like I will be with the Rams, or parlay your dark horse division winners. Visit the FanDuel app today and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day, and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. All right, the road trip as a whole, 4-5. They had a chance to end it with a winning road trip today and just couldn't do it. My thoughts at the end of the road trip are pretty bad. I think that this team has it's done. Their playoff hopes are done. Let me check FanDuel right now to see their odds for the postseason, because they can't be good after today. And I've said it. I don't think this is a playoff team. I think this is a competitive team. I just want them to be able to play competitive baseball. That's all that I really care for, is just playing competitive baseball. At the end of the day, they're probably not going to be a playoff team. And it doesn't even look like you can get playoff odds right now on them at FanDuel, considering the games are still going on. So might be something to check up on later. But this team's probably, at the end of the day, a 78-84 team. And I'm okay with them, the moves that they made at the deadline. You got guys, other than the bats that they got, Yastrzemski and Grichuk and Frazier, who have been great Band-Aids for this lineup. I'm okay with the moves that they made. They sold off one piece that really mattered, and it was Freddie Fermin. At the end of the day, that's the only piece that ever would have made a difference on this team. And Freddie Fermin, you capitalize when his value is at his highest, and the early returns on your investment in Ryan Bergert are overwhelmingly positive. So I'm perfectly fine with this series, or with the moves that they made. I'm not fine with this series. I mean, embarrassing from last night. Even last night's game was I even said it on Twitter. They didn't deserve to win last night. Noah Cameron, tip your cap to him. He was able to work out of jams. But why would you have to get yourself into so many jams? Why do you need to put so many runners on? As a lineup, why do you have to hit as poorly as you did against Bailey Ober, who's absolutely terrible? Just an overall embarrassing road trip as a whole. The team goes 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position, leaves 15 on base. Frazier leaves 2, Michael leaves 2, Salvi 1, India 1, Yaz 1, Maley 1, Isbell 1. And now they have to go back home to a stadium that I believe is going to be mostly empty. I don't think, if this team ends with a winning road trip, or hell, even goes 6-3 on the road trip, you're talking about Kauffman Stadium probably having a pretty good buzz to it. I mean, they want to see these new look guys, but right now there's no reason for them to go to the ballpark other than, being able to take the kids out, and have them, run around outside for fun. But there's not a whole lot of reasons for families and fans that are not diehards like you, me, and the rest of us here in this chat. Not a whole lot of reasons for them to be dying out and going to these games. So just a really unimpressive showing for this team. Pitching matchups for the series, it'll be Bailey Falter against Cade Cavalli tomorrow, Michael Wacha against Mitchell Parker on Tuesday, and Seth Lugo against Jake Urban on Wednesday before an off day on Thursday. So just bad. I don't even know. I've said all the words that I can possibly say to sum up this entire series. We went way over here in terms of our time, but at the end of the day, man, it sucks. That was a terrible series from front to back, start to finish. I know it, you know it, the rest of us know it. At the end of the day, they're 58-60, 5 games out of a wild card spot. And I said it, they have to at least get within striking distance after this homestand. And if you look at the teams around the league that they are competing with, they're about to start taking off. They're about to start putting some wins together. But just overall sad with what this team showed today. And hopefully Bobby Witt Jr.'s injury isn't serious, because I'd like to see him play for this team down the stretch. If we get a tweet from the Royals that he's on the 10-day injured list going into this series, and folks, we're going to have some really tough conversations and some very unpopulated chat rooms for these shows. But I'm going to be here. I know that somebody asked me, is it okay to not watch this team the rest of the season? Chris, more than okay for you to not watch. And I'm not saying you personally, but if you don't want to watch the team the rest of the season, man, that's your decision. I would love it if you guys continue to watch us here. Jack and I put a lot of hard work and a lot of hours into watching these games and giving you guys great content. So if you don't tune out, or if you don't tune in for the Royals games, I would love it if you guys at least tuned in for these podcasts and postcasts, because at the end of the day, we're working really hard to give you guys these shows. And, we can at least give you enough water cooler conversation talk for when you show up to work tomorrow and your coworker asks you about the game last night. So I appreciate you guys for being here. Enjoy your week. We'll be back tomorrow night for another edition of the Royals Postcast on the Locked On Podcast Network.